And joining us right now here in studio, Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch. Good morning and happy Friday, Tom.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So you're here because yesterday we were speaking with you and we were talking about shadow banning, and you just happened to say, oh, yeah, they did that to me, too. How do you know you've been shadow banned? By Twitter.
You know, a few users had told me they had trouble finding me, and I didn't think anything of it necessarily. I thought it might have been operator error. And then there are stories yesterday, Vice News reported, that they looked at the issue of conservatives and Republicans associated with Trump. If you type their name into the Twitter search box, there wasn't the automatic population, or wasn't automatically being filled with the most likely result. Now, there are other Tom Fittons on the internet, but when you type in Tom Fitton, you weren't finding my Twitter handle, which we have a significant following of 300,000 people. The president retweeted me 5 times earlier this week. And Vice News says it was only happening to Republicans and conservatives and not Democrats and liberals, it looked like. So it looked like I had been shadow banned along with the other leaders of the Republican Party. And, and there are a lot of people that you don't know about who were also being banned. And it looks like it was based on, they say, a glitch, but a glitch that happened just to magically fall upon
glitch.
Conservatives.
Even the computers hate Republicans. It's not just the people at Twitter. This is the weird thing, Tom. This is not the first time we've seen this. This is not just like Twitter's issue. We've encountered it a couple times now, and I'll just give you the quick rundown. I know you remember all these. Facebook has a trending news bar on the side of its homepage, and you get former Facebook employees tell Gizmodo that they were intentionally suppressing conservative news from appearing in that sidebar. Additionally, you have Google, a fact-check feature that came up on their search engine last year or a couple months ago, and that fact-check feature only fact-checked conservative sites, never liberal ones. And each time we get these excuses. Well, you see, what the real problem was, it was an algorithm error. Well, it's a weird algorithm that happens to have a pretty amazing political bias to it. So it's not that crazy to be suspicious of what's going on here.
My guess is the management doesn't want to do this at either Google or Facebook. But, Vince, as you point out, they have left-wing employees, and they've got systems in place or systems not in place that protect the integrity of Facebook or Twitter from being gamed by left-wing activists within their ranks. And I would guess in Twitter and as you point out in Facebook, there's an engineer or two who decided, well, I'm gonna write this algorithm. I'm going to change this software to make it hit conservatives. And I don't know anything about how that work might be done, but my guess it's pretty easy to game the system if you're not attuned to the political debates out there on the internet and how just one search term or one word can result in a whole half the country being left out of the debate.
Now, the president loves his Twitter, and he's getting involved in this, and he actually tweeted out yesterday morning, Twitter shadow banning prominent Republicans not good. We will look into this discriminatory and illegal practice at once. Many complaints. My question, though, is you hear this, does this lead into treating Twitter as a utility? And then it winds up being regulated by the government. It's a private company. I don't know how the government looks into this and can call it illegal and discriminatory.
Well, if they were breaking their user agreement or falsely advertising, I guess in theory the Federal Trade Commission could look into it. And I don't want the government regulating the internet, unlike the left. The last time you had government regulation of public platforms really was the regulation known as the Fairness Doctrine. And the Fairness Doctrine was anything but fair, and it resulted in conservative voices being suppressed. It was only after that regulation was lifted that you have this kind of flowering of talk radio that provided access to the values we all share here.
Well, I want to talk about Twitter in general, because Bob Mueller is now apparently reportedly looking into the president's tweets as a way to assess whether or not he obstructed justice. I'm waiting on his tweets to begin leaking so we can actually see what's in them. But here's the president just now. He's literally tweeting as we speak because he's listening to the program probably. Arrived back in Washington last night from a very emotional reopening of a major U.S. steel plant in Granite City, Illinois, only to be greeted with the ridiculous news that the highly conflicted Robert Mueller and his gang of 13 angry Democrats obviously cannot find collusion. The only collusion with Russia was with the Democrats. So now they're now they are looking at my tweets along with 53 million other people. The rigged witch hunt continues. How stupid and unfair to our country. And so the fake news doesn't waste my time with dumb questions. No, and by the way, he's still in the middle of a tweet. He had an ellipsis. We'll give you the rest of what the president's saying and Tom Fitton's reaction in just a moment. 7:43 on WMAL.
Here's today's driving tip, fueled by Jiffy Lube. This summer, before you hit the road for that long family vacation, remember, driving the speed limit isn't just for safety. It also helps your fuel efficiency. According to the EPA, driving 55 miles per hour compared to 65 miles per hour can improve gas mileage by as much as 15%. Using the cruise control can help achieve this, and maintaining a constant speed typically delivers better fuel economy than varying your speed. For a list of Jiffy Lube locations, visit jiffylubedc.com.
Hey, honey, how's the business trip? Oh, that's great. Yes, I remembered to get the truck serviced. No, I didn't need to make an appointment. Instead of going to the dealer, I just pulled into Jiffy Lube, where they do all the service while you wait, so I don't need a rental car. Yes, their services will still meet our warranty requirements, because their highly trained technicians use the same manufacturer recommendations as the dealer, so it's more convenient. More value for the same protection, and they keep all our service records. Oh, and I miss you.
Dr. Will Sauvé with Greenbrook TMS Neurohealth Centers on depression.
Depression is one of the few kinds of illnesses that takes over your identity. So people wake up every morning, you look in the mirror, and you see that depressed version of you. You do that enough times, and that becomes you.
Experience matters. Greenbrook TMS Neurohealth Centers delivers life-changing TMS therapy to patients struggling with depression using only the latest non-invasive FDA-cleared technology with the flexibility to work with your schedule.
I look forward to talking to patients who have completed their treatment because so many of them are in remission. So many of them are so happy that you really do get to see people walking out of here feeling completely well.
Greenbrook TMS Neurohealth Centers in many convenient locations throughout Maryland and Virginia. Now open in Arlington, accepting most insurance, including Medicare. For a free consultation to see if TMS therapy is right for you or a loved one, visit hopetms.com. That's hopetms.com.
If you're interested in a thriving business and excel at selling great marketing solutions, a career at Cumulus Media could be for you. Take our questionnaire at WMAL.com/sales, WMAL.com/sales, WMAL.com/sales.
7:45 now. WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the fives, here's Jamie Witten in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
All right, happy Friday it is for the most part on this trip here in from the west on 66, the Greenway Toll Road. However, the Maryland Beltway, we have been busy this morning, and we have about an hour. That's my way of saying an hour delay from 95 and around to 270. That's how much time it's going to take you to get past the accidents that remain on the shoulder. Still with the rubbernecking, they've reopened that right lane again, outer loop before 270. That's the scene of our third crash of the morning. So we've been quite busy. However, no delay 95 to get from, say, Laurel, Calverton, and to join either loop of the Beltway. So at least that's in our favor. On 50 out of Annapolis and Bowie, wide open trip. Inside the Beltway, 50 starts to bunch up just a bit as you approach the merge to go 295 south. That volume delay takes you past East Capitol Street. No problems on Pennsylvania Avenue, Route 4, Route 5 up to the Beltway. That's in good shape, too. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Line of storms off to our west will be developing and rolling east as we get into the afternoon, probably right in the heart of the afternoon and evening commute. Stronger storms producing strong winds and maybe some hail. A risk for an isolated tornado, maybe some heavy downpours also. But this will be progressive, so it'll move through quickly. Close to 90 this afternoon. Hit and miss storms tomorrow, partly cloudy on Sunday. I'm Maurice Digit, the Weather Channel, WMAL.
It's 76 degrees in the nation's capital, 7:46 on WMAL. All right, the President of the United States, in the middle of some tweets right now about how it's ridiculous that Robert Mueller are looking for collusion in his tweets. What did you make of that news yesterday, Tom Fitton?
That just shows you how out of control the Mueller investigation is. Supposedly, the theory is that there's somehow obstruction of justice in public tweets. You know, usually if you're going to obstruct justice or intimidate people, you do it behind the scenes. The idea that a federal prosecutor or any prosecutor would be looking at someone's public comments and tweets including especially the tweets of the President of the United States to try to build a corruption case, shows you how out of control the Mueller investigation is. And frankly, it's abusive and harassing of the President. And I would shut the darn thing down. Let's go back quickly. Collusion. They investigated Democrat hacking. No collusion with Americans, certainly the Trump campaign. They investigated the bots, the fake news the Russians were placing in Facebook and elsewhere. No collusion with Americans. They investigated the attacks on election systems, the stealing of election data, the efforts to try to hack state election systems from Russia. No collusion with the Trump campaign, obviously. No collusion. Party's over. Thank you, Mr. Mueller. We'll see you next year.
Well, unless some of those tweets are actually code to his Russian overlords.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. I have to watch America or something like that a bit more carefully to figure it out, see where the Dropbox is.
Let's also talk about the Rosenstein, the impeachment of Rosenstein that has been brought by 11 Republicans. Since that has been brought, we know Paul Ryan says he doesn't back the effort to impeach Rosenstein. We know that Jeff Sessions has stood behind him, and now Mark Meadows, and we also had Jim Jordan on. They're saying willing to put that, keep it on the table, but they're first going to go after him for contempt if he does not produce these documents that, as Jim Jordan said, some of them are from last year that he still hasn't produced.
The question is, does Congress have any self-respect anymore? Rosenstein and the Justice Department have been showing contempt for Congress, and I don't mean that literally but figuratively, for over a year now in terms of withholding documents. They don't think they're answerable to the president because the president isn't allowed to tell them what to do. Mueller's investigating his tweets for complaining about the Justice Department, and they're not answerable to Congress. So what tools does Congress have? Impeachment? Oh, no, we're not allowed to do impeachment. Contempt, you can bet you're going to have the same complaints against contempt. Contempt, in many ways, is even more significant because there are potential criminal aspects to that.
Well, Eric Holder was held in contempt, and he may be running for president.
They're still fighting for the documents, and that's 4 or 5 years ago.
I know. It's craziness. So,
but maybe they should cut the funding of the Justice Department. That's what Congress is supposed to do, which is to appropriate money, and that's the key tool Congress has. But it's they write checks to these zombie agencies, and without any significant oversight or appropriations. And Bob Goodlatte, who's head of the Judiciary Committee, he's the one who needs to push harder on this.
All right, well, if you want to get around any current or future Twitter shadow bans with Tom Fitton, he's at Tom Fitton on Twitter, and he's right here today. Thank you, Tom. Really appreciate it this morning.
You're welcome, guys. Have a great.
Appreciate it this morning.
You're welcome, guys. Have a great.